Today in crypto, Bitcoin has had an absolutely stellar week, up nearly 17%. But it now seems like the orange guy might just be taking a bit of a nap. Can the altcoins come back out to play again? Ethereum has a very big problem right now that could bring a very quick end to our DeFi summer. And the US dollar, it has been absolutely getting hammered, which could be a very good thing for Bitcoin. My name is Lark, and this is where you subscribe for all of the hottest and all of the latest happening out here in the wild, wild land of crypto. So let's start off today by talking about the markets. Bitcoin has obviously been doing very, very well this week. This is the kind of breakout where you start getting those messages from friends they haven't heard from in like 2 years asking, hey man, are you still doing that Bitcoin thing? And if you are, can you help me get some of it? This is very, very exciting to see Bitcoin making these kind of moves. Bitcoin over $10,500, that is a big, big deal. Now, if the weekly candle actually closes above $10,500, then we are really primed for the market to blast higher. Try not to count the chickens before they hatch, though. We do want to see that weekly candle close. Now, zooming out a bit, you can see that since late October 2019, Bitcoin had failed 3 times to break over $10,500. So breaking it now is really, really key to just building that long-term momentum for a new bull market. And to add a bit more fuel to the bull market fire, we even came back down and tested $10,500 and kind of flipped that resistance into support. Now, if we can actually consolidate here, it's going to be incredibly bullish for Bitcoin moving forward. And of course, the break above $10,500 also means that we have broken our 2.5-year downtrend that has really defined the crypto market for a very, very long time now. Let's hope that we actually confirm this on the weekly candle again. That's what I really, really want to see. Now, the next 2 big levels that we need to crack, $12,300 and then $14,000. That is resistance back from the summer of 2019. If we cross over $14,000, it is on, baby. We are on the road to that new all-time high. The only question, of course, how long is it going to take to get there? Quick disclaimer, of course, pullbacks, totally possible. There's no guarantee that $10,500 is going to hold as support, but the current structure looking very, very bullish. But if it does hold, then it does confirm the bull narrative. Also, almost 93% of the circulating Bitcoin supply is in a state of profit right now. Is the highest level we've seen in over a year. And while retail buyers might have had a bit of a FOMO moment during the price run in the last few days, Bitcoin whales, they are holding strong. You see, the coin supply on exchanges, it barely budged during this run-up. Whales did not move in their Bitcoin and cash out. The whales know what is up. The Bitcoin balance on exchanges, it remains stable at around 14.5% of the circulating Bitcoin supply. Think about that as well. Less than 15% of the total supply of Bitcoin is currently sitting on exchanges. In fact, 62% of the Bitcoin supply has not moved in at least a year. That's crazy. Whales are not selling here, nor are many of the hodlers. And if the whales aren't selling, then you probably shouldn't be selling either. Now, the crazy thing is that when Bitcoin moved up that 17% over the last few days, altcoins got absolutely slaughtered. It was merciless. Let's take a look at a few examples here. Band Protocol lost 50% versus Bitcoin, which is savage, man. But it also flipped its previous resistance into support, which is actually really nice to see and could be a very bullish move for Band. Tezos dropped by 28% versus Bitcoin before bouncing off of support lines dating back to April, which is again a potentially very bullish move for a lot of altcoins. Now, if Bitcoin behaves for a few days, and Bitcoin may not behave, but if it does, then we could see big gains very, very quickly in the altcoin market. Because Tezos and Band, they are not unique. Lots of cryptocurrencies came back down, tested big lines of support versus Bitcoin, and they bounced strongly back up and still have a lot of room to run. Remember, in an uptrending market, dips are for buying. Don't panic, sell at a 20, 30, or 50% loss just to FOMO into a 10% move on Bitcoin. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Stick to your plan. A big thank you to BlockFi for sponsoring today's episode. BlockFi is my preferred lender and offers highly competitive rates, 6% for Bitcoin, 5% for Litecoin starting in August, 4.5% for Ethereum, and 8.6% on stablecoins like USDC and Paxos. BlockFi has no lockup periods and no token is required to get the best rates. Just deposit your crypto, sit back, and earn passive income. And as a special bonus, BlockFi is giving $20 in free Bitcoin to anyone who signs up using the link down below in the description and deposits and maintains a balance of $500 until September 14th. And in addition, of course, to the $20 bonus, you will also earn interest for August and for September, which is definitely a sweet deal. Okay, so let's start the news by talking about the top two networks. Particularly when talking about Ethereum, we're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin first. You see, Ethereum and Bitcoin fees, they are absolutely out of control again. And this is not even the bull run. The herd's not here. The hype hasn't even barely started. We're only talking about a niche within a niche, which is the DeFi thing. And even with all that happening, Bitcoin has hit $5 for an average transaction, which, you know, to me, whatever. Digital gold, point A, point B, $5. Okay, sure, I guess that's worth it. Not happy about those high fees by any means, but still beats like, PayPal. But unsurprised, of course, given the glacier-like adoption of the Lightning Network, that we still have such high fees, and of course, the ultra-conservative nature of Bitcoin itself more broadly, why we still have, again, really expensive fees, and we're going to have more expensive fees for Bitcoin. But it's not just Bitcoin with the high fees. Ethereum is around 30 cents just to send Ether right now. Now, this chart here shows how quickly gas prices have risen in the last 2 months. Now, a lot of this is because of the high gas costs required for complex smart contracts on DeFi. Unfortunately, Forsage, this scam, it remains a big user of Blockface. In fact, the Forsage scam is #1 this week. That's crazy and kind of depressing. Stop investing in scams, guys. Just stop it. Anyway, and stablecoin transfers, obviously those are gaining popularity and of course a big user of gas as well. Now, it's got so bad for smart contracts, the fees for even doing simple things like just swapping an asset on Kyber network, they have soared to heights that have made it basically unusable. I saw a proposed $30 fee yesterday for just doing a swap on Kyber for a few $100. I was going to buy some BZX and it's like, nope. What? The actual Fook Vitalik? Not cool. Not doing that, man. So those more complex tasks like, claiming your stakes on synthetics or providing liquidity, they have been totally priced out of reach of smaller users unless you're making swaps of thousands of dollars. Not good. Not good at all. ETH 2.0 is not going to be fully deployed until 2022 at the earliest. Now, if we're lucky, we get phase 0 of ETH 2.0 this year, but that doesn't fix the gas fees anytime soon. Now you can see here the number of addresses and daily transactions has been on a steady rise for Ethereum since the beginning of the year, which on the one hand, yeah, it looks really great, but on the other hand, that's why the network's getting so gosh darn clogged. Adoption's going up and Ethereum's not ready to scale. But DeFi, more than anything, is really clogging the network since it's so gas hungry. This chart here shows the number of people using DeFi has absolutely soared, nearly tripling since the start of the year. Now that's a good thing, but it's also kind of a bad thing because again, it's clogging up the network with those really gas-intensive smart contracts. And look, it is kind of bad. There's no need to sugarcoat it, but I do believe that DeFi on Ethereum can and will scale and can and will succeed. Now there are multiple solutions on offer right now that are in the process of being implemented. We have Matic, OMG, Raiden, Stellar Network, as well as the roll-up technology. Now it's already been implemented by players like Loopring, so you can actually do swaps on their exchange and it's just dirt cheap. Diversifies DEX, they're using Starkware scaling solutions, so again, very cheap. Synthetics is actively working on implementing roll-up technology as well. So that technology exists, it just needs to be implemented by more projects right now. Now that would largely resolve some of the worst congestion issues that we are seeing at this moment on Ethereum. The pressure is now on the teams to implement this technology. Meanwhile, the other chains are hungry. DeFi is coming on Cosmos, is coming on Elrond, is coming on Cardano, is coming on Polkadot. All of them are making big moves. The bus will not wait for Ethereum, so the pressure is on the ETH team big time to get this thing moving. And finally, for today, the dollar is getting hit hard as the United States continues, of course, to struggle with the ongoing pandemic and civil unrest and all that crazy stuff. While most major economies have long since had the COVID thing kind of under wrap, the U.S. has struggled. Now, the dollar is down around 9% from its March highs, and it is on track for its worst month since 2011. Now, a large part of the pessimism internationally towards the dollar is due to the expectations that the United States is going to take a much bigger hit to growth than other economies from the pandemic. The dollar is expected to slide at least another 5% in the coming months. Now, the weakening dollar is at least, of course, in part to thank for the recent gold rally and probably for the Bitcoin rally as well. We also have Goldman Sachs strategists who have been out there expressing their concerns about the longevity of the U.S. dollar and the threats to it, citing the record level of debt accumulation by the U.S. government as something that is particularly concerning. Their answer, of course, for anyone who is concerned about the future of the dollar, go out and buy some gold. Unsurprisingly, Goldman Sachs, not a Bitcoin fan. But the exact same forces that are pushing investors into gold are also pushing investors into Bitcoin. Is it any coincidence that at the same time the dollar is being dumped, that both gold and Bitcoin are pumping? It is not a coincidence. It is the reason. And there are so many factors, of course, working against the dollar right now. We have the trade war with China, the pandemic, the civil unrest in the U.S., the election coming up in about 100 days or so, the money printing machine just going brrr, totally crazy, unsustainable debt levels that have grown just absolutely ballooned in the last few months, and a market addicted to stimulus. And to add on top of the already kind of tough picture for the dollar, there's another round of stimulus coming. So the good news is that $1,200 checks we sent out to most people in the USA, which, don't get me wrong, that's good to see people getting help who need it. But the current bill is being pegged at around $1 trillion. They're probably going to throw some more money on top by the time the whole thing gets negotiated in the Congress and all that. But look, that's just more unpayable debt. That's more inflation. So it is what it is. At least to try and help people to some extent. But there's also, $29 billion for fighter jets in there. It's just crazy. Anyway, this debt is just insane. It's going to be impossible to escape. The U.S. has become so indebted, and of course the dollar is connected to that, meaning that there is a very uncertain future for the dollar. And with the rise of China, puts it in more pressure. A transition towards renewables puts the petrodollar thesis in question. And of course, the increasing disruption of cryptocurrencies and fintech more generally means that the pressure has simply never been greater on the dollar. It sure is a great time to be a Bitcoin owner, though. Holy cow. If you are invested in cryptocurrency right now, then you are invested in what is likely to be the highest growth sector of the decade. It was last decade, it's going to be this decade as well. And you're also invested in the very technology that is going to completely disrupt the legacy financial system. I love the smell of Bitcoin in the morning. It smells like victory. Anyway, your question for today. Did you buy any of the dips yesterday during all that market mayhem as altcoins dropped massively while Bitcoin soared? What did you get, if anything? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope you're having an excellent day wherever you are and whatever you're doing out there in the crazy, crazy world. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.